how do you follow up an episode like last week? Seriously, that's a tough gig, and yet here I am about to proclaim how fantastic this episode is for the next 15 minutes or so. Honestly, this is such a perfect follow-up. On top of that, episode 4 has some of the most touching moments, and in contrast, some really nasty ones, for a show that continually does not pull punches. Succession is just the best. There isn't any competition at all. And I love Barry, but I don't think we'll get a caliber of a show like Succession for a long while after this. The episode starts with what seems like the end of the beautiful moments of silence that have concluded the previous 3 episodes. We see Kendall, Roman and Shiv waking up, getting ready for the day ahead. This is a complicated episode, especially as for the previous few episodes and even most of season 3, the battle lines were drawn and it was mostly clear who was on whose side, between Kendall versus everyone and siblings versus dad. However, here we have a tapestry of overlapping relationships, motivations and loyalties. It's inevitable the siblings will fall apart, but just how and to what extent is up in the air, leaving these scenes with a feeling like the edge of a knife. As in tense. It's tense. Really tense. Everyone has come out of the woodworks to see what they can rob from Logan's grave, and Logan isn't done taunting the children into misery yet. Jeremy Strong is just next level. This largely is a Kendall episode, and like usual, it's heartbreaking. Some quick thoughts include that it's a really nice touch that Kendall knows the names of everyone at the funeral, which serves as a reminder that Kendall can be competent. It was legitimately uplifting to see the kids bond over deciphering news headlines about Logan's death.
Sharp reader of the national mood.
He's a bit racist.
Furthermore, Ken and Rome discovering that their father played Sudoku is a nice, quiet moment. However, even in death, Logan finds a way to tease that validation all the children long for. I don't think Kendall ever expected to become the head of Waystar again, but as soon as they find out that maybe Logan wanted Kendall to take over at some point in his life, the engine starts in this generator of power and greed. For the second week in a row, Frank plays the role of surrogate father to Ken and dishes out perhaps the most emotionally honest advice on the show.
I disappointed him.
No, come on. We think these grand horror things at times like these ice shelves are gonna come at us in the night and take our heads off. It's not true.
Ken is out. He is doing better. For his own sake, he shouldn't pursue this, and yet the power grab is too alluring. All of the kids can't help themselves. Now, there's some large Kendall character developments in this episode, especially by the end. However, let's touch on the other siblings and sprinkle in the Kendall spice throughout. Shiv's marriage has collapsed, her dad just died, for which she blames herself. She doesn't have the prior experience or footholds at Waystar that Kendall and Roman do, and everyone won't stop smiling at her father's funeral. Shiv's not doing so hot. On top of all this, Shiv is having a baby, probably Tom's baby. She's grasping at straws and I feel really bad for her. Shiv is forced to compromise between the siblings as Kendall and Roman step up to head the company. It's rough. Shiv is already at the disadvantage being the only significant female Roy and continually overlooked by her father and the male-dominated business. Shiv does attempt to find better placement within the company. However, the best she can pull is getting the other siblings to promise on their father's death that she will have equal say behind the scenes.
And that's all equal.
Yeah.
Equal as fuck to the gram.
Because you guys fuck me on this, and it's...
No.
Which, this agreement most definitely will be followed and isn't going to backfire against her. It is particularly absurd that the siblings are promising on their father, someone who is distinctly not trustworthy and has tormented them for eternity.
This is a dad promise on yesterday.
Furthermore, in this scene, it feels like Kendall takes this advantage with ease. Something about his face and how he says, on yesterday, just drips of brutal emptiness in his words.
Yeah.
On yesterday.
On yesterday.
Kendall might just be the killer Logan always wanted, and Shiv just got shanked. I think Roman is the best choice to take over from Logan. Roman has business sense and enough of his father's instincts. Furthermore, the last 3 episodes have indicated to me that Roman has gained a bit more empathy. I think of all of the siblings, he can be trusted the most to not betray the others. It seems Roman actually loves this family bond that's grown. Even when he went back to Logan, it didn't feel like he had the intention of selling out the siblings. Roman has continually made the best judgments grounded in some level of reality. One of the most intense and traumatic scenes of the episode is when Kerry tries to participate in the funeral. She is barred and met with cold hostility, and she's like breaking down in front of everyone. The only person to even kind of defend her is Roman. Sure, he isn't a hero, but he's doing far more than anyone else in the room, and it was unnecessary, and kudos to Roman for even kind of calling this out.
That was unnecessary, right?
Finally, with Ken and Rome appointed kings of the realm, the corporate heads give them 2 options for how to handle the handover. One of vanilla respect and one that paints their father like an incompetent piece of shit. Roman is quick to discourage the awfulness of throwing the still warm corpse of Logan immediately under the bus. It's honorable, and a part of why I think Roman is a good choice. However, Kendall may just be the one who is becoming most like their father. As we see in the next scene, Kendall goes behind Roman's back, not in a way that destroys the relationship, but it's a bad indicator for the sibling bond. It's extraordinarily interesting to see how much it really is just business for this group of senior management. They've worked with Logan for many decades and their eyes are bone dry. In contrast to the Roy children, who were born into privilege and will always be wealthy regardless of who comes out on top. The old guard have distinct stakes in this fight, and without Logan to destroy them at the drop of a coin, they're in a position to press the offensive against the siblings. The discussion of speculation in a comic mode is golden, and I suspect if it wasn't for Logan's final wishes being found, there was a good chance of one of the old guard heading the company in this interim. The video is getting pretty long, so it feels like the perfect time to talk about poor Tom motherfucking Wambsgans. Tom has fallen so far down the ladder, it's outcome not good. Listen, Tom's just here to serve.
Is the chance to serve, that I'm here to serve. Here to serve, here to serve.
Like he always has been. Tom, upon attempting to convince the old guard to back him, gets absolutely roasted by Carl.
You're a clumsy interloper and no one trusts you. The only guy pulling for you is dead.
The look on Matthew McFadden's face is brilliant. He looks as if his mouth has shrunk into the back of his skull. I have hope for Tom, but it seems that he is fair and squarely fucked. Tom does play some good mind games with the siblings, especially Roman, as well as some great jabs to Greg about Logan. However, the moment that is unreal is when Tom has a monologue reminiscent about one of his first tender memories of Shiv.
Siobhan, do you remember when we first knew one another?
It is so lovingly told that I was levitating in my seat. Even more when Shiv is unable to cherish Tom's advance. Even through watery eyes, she struggles to find the words to dishearten Tom. Let's bring it all home with a final lament about Kendall. Perhaps in death and a piece of paper that inconclusively says maybe Logan thinks Kendall should succeed, puts Kendall into prime position as number one boy, and seemingly most like his father, with some cold moves this episode. The setting, Kendall's look and clothes all make me reminisce about the first episode of Succession where Kendall was lined up to take over. However, there's more confidence here. Kendall is more calculating about communicating with his peers. Nothing highlights this more than the final scene of the episode. Kendall goes behind everyone's back to blackmail Hugo into running the anti-Logan campaign for the handover. Something about the smile. It's all in Jeremy Strong's smile. It's as if this is the first time Kendall is actually smiling. Finally, Britell's score plays us into the credits, a piece that brings this feeling of a frenetic call to action as it transitions into the more classic Succession reoccurring score. An indicator that no one is ready for the coming weeks. I don't have that much more to say, believe it or not, but this episode is such a great indicator that we're in for an absolute treat in the coming weeks. It's not going to be fun, it's not going to be easy, it'll be messy. We're not getting a happy ending. It's nice to enjoy the sibling bond while it's still here. However, with Shiv spiraling out, Roman taking his place at the company, attempting to avoid his grief and have a real big boy family, and finally Kendall on his way to maybe becoming the monster he has tried and failed to defeat for the last 3 seasons. As I understand it, we're getting tragedy. It is going to be something. Well, it's going to be heartbreaking.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe